there yet. We have some bigger carriers there, but we're just not 100% saturated like we are on the life side. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and we'll walk through this platform together. Again, we're small crew here, so just holler at me as I'm going through here if you have questions. But this is essentially what you would get access to if you purchase your own SuranceLC account. This is what an admin sees. We'll have a login for each one of your admins. They'll come into the system, and the first thing you'll notice is a list of all your producers, and you could click in at any one of these producers, see their full profile. And that's how we essentially process the contracting requests through this. Is we generate generic profiles for each one of your producers and add them to the system. And those profiles are going to consist of demographic, license information, contract information, training information, is all going to be aggregated in one location. And that can be viewed by any one of the admins, and even your producers can come in and see their profile so they can see all that information. Just at a couple clicks of a button, we make it extremely user-friendly for that. And for today's demo, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and add a producer to the system, show you how easy that is, show you what that generic profile looks like, and then we're going to initiate a contract request. So I'm going to go ahead and let me grab my demo users here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add producer. And how we add these producers is we pull in data from Nipper, and in particular their PDB report, which has all their demographic and licensing information. And that's how we initiate this process. So a producer has to have an account with Nipper before we can even initiate this request. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the producer's social security number, their last name, as well as their date of birth. And the nice thing is we do an instant verification with Nipper. So if any of this information is not correct, or they don't have that Nipper profile, it's not going to let you proceed, and we're going to say unable to complete this registration process. But once we plug in the correct information, we can see we found Craig's profile, and we can start to pull in that data. I'm also going to add an email address so that when we hand this request over to the producer, we actually have the ability to email it to them. Then we also will give you the ability to add affiliations. So this allows you to create different rules. So maybe you have different hierarchies of commissions for different groups of producers. Those are all things we can coordinate behind the scenes. And then you could just select one of these affiliation groups and I'll pull in those particular rules. And then lastly, we give you the ability to send an activation email to the producer so that they can log in and see their profile. We also give you the inverse of setting up a producer. How I'm doing this today is going to be as an admin at the agency. So someone working with you, initiating this process, but we do give the ability to generate a hyperlink, and we can then attach that to an email or add that to an email and send that to the producer. And then they can go in here, create a username and password, and generate this profile themselves. So as I go through it today, just know I'll be walking through this as if I'm an agency admin working for you. And then we'll hand this over to the producer to finalize it. But we do have that inverse solution where you can just have the producer do everything themselves. Totally up to you on how you want to proceed. And go ahead and create that account. So again, going out to Nipper, grabbing that PDB report, pulling in all their demographic, licensing, and training information into one generic profile. So this is what a generic profile looks like. This can be viewed from an admin or from a producer standpoint. But as you can see across the top, we have some red and yellow dots. Red dots need to be completed before we can initiate a contract request. We even gray out that contract request. So it can't even be done until this is all taken care of. So under profile, we see the red dot is we are missing a phone number, and we'll take care of that here in just 2 seconds. But we can see that we're pulling in Craig's first name, middle name from that PDB report, as well as his NPN number. And then we also subscribe each producer to Nipper Alerts. So Nipper Alerts is really cool. We can click on this since phone number is missing, and we can see all their phone numbers that Nipper has on file. We can see this is the most up-to-date phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and update that information. It's loaded. The second thing Nipper Alerts does is going to update our licensing tab every 24 hours with updated licensing information. I'll show you what that looks like here in a moment.
Okay.
And then we also, yep, question?
No, 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 no. I was just like
Oh, yeah.
taking it's great. It's actually great. It's great
Yeah,
functionality. And you said that it refreshes every day?
every single day. Yep. Every 24 hours, we'll get a new feed of data from Nipper for all of your producers.
Okay, great. That's great.
Awesome. And then, so typically when I add that phone number, this red dot should turn yellow, but it's being a little stubborn. I'm just going to refresh. So there we go. So yellow dot there, and we can go to DBA, doing business as, or how the heck we're going to pay this producer.
Yeah.
So we give you all the different options out there. And let's say if you only use individual, we can also just configure this just to show individual. But right now, since we're in a demo environment, we have all options turned on. I'm going to go ahead and leave individual on since it's the most common. And this is also reflexive. So when I select individual, it's now going to require an EFT at some point to be taken care of. But I'll show you what that looks like once we get to that tab. Next is questions. So we currently work with over 600 carriers where we're managing their forms on our system. So we took a look at all 600 of those carriers, and we said these are the 19 most common questions that everyone was asking across the board. So we put them all in one location. If I was logged in as a producer, I would just go ahead and fill this out essentially once, and then we'll pull these questions in. I am logged in as an admin, so typically an admin's not going to answer these questions on behalf of a producer. But for the sake of today's demo, I'm going to put all no here and answer this just to show you what the UI looks like, or the user interface.
Okay.
So for fraud, I'm going to say this guy committed fraud. If they answer yes to any of these, we have to add an explanation. If if you have an explanation on file for this producer, the producer has something that's worked in the past, they can drag and drop it here. But we've taken this service to the next level, and we've actually created a template to create an explanation. So we just need to know the reason, the explanation, what action was taken, and the occurrence. We're going to save that information, and it's going to generate a really nice, clean PDF that we will attach those contracts if this question is asked about fraud. As you can imagine, carriers love it. They're not relying on someone just jumping in a bunch of handwritten notes
Yeah, right.
about what's
Yes.
going on, so they
Uh-huh.
can get a nice clean PDF.
Okay, that's great.
Going to create that, and that is going to be saved. And now our licensing tab. So this is really cool. We can aggregate all the producers' licensing data right from here. As we can see, for our Alabama license, we'll have the license number, license class, lines of authority, first action date, or first active date, and then expiration date. All that information we pulled in for all their active licenses. And then if I was logged in as a producer, this would give me the ability to actually manage my licenses, so I can renew any expired licenses, purchase non-resident licenses, all right from the screen. Kind of the name of the game here is one-stop shopping. So we want that producer to come in here and not have to go to 8 other screens to fulfill a contract request. So one of the things we have is managing those licenses. We also give the ability for an admin to manage a producer's license on their behalf, so they can be the payer on that. And we can do that through this licensing management. A great example of this is if you have some wholesalers that are working for you. Typically, when I've ran organizations like yours, I've always had license management for my internal employees. So that's one way we can accommodate you here. Any questions so far in this process?
Well, that's plenty of information in there.
Yeah.
You said that, well, for this licensing, do we register them by itself, or is the process? I mean, this is like a record of the things that being done, right?
Yeah. Yep. So there'll be a record of any licenses being purchased through here. They'll automatically update onto the site. If they go directly to Nipper to do it, which we're definitely fine with, just give it 24 hours and that license will then show up onto the system.
Okay, great. And this is like the view of an agent, right? This will be like Craig Dean Williams information as an agent.
Exactly. So
And
I'm logged in right now as an agency admin, but if
okay,
I was logged in as an agent themselves, it would look almost identical. The big difference between these two screens is if you're logged in as an admin, all these tabs are across the top. If you log in as a producer, all these tabs show up on the side. So that's
okay.
the big difference between those two.
Okay, great. So taking into account that we will use probably use like the agency version of the program, can we access like this very same platform or view for every single agent under our agency
Exactly. Yep. So this is what you'd be able to see for each one of your
for
agents.
each one?
So you
Oh
could
my
come
God,
into any of them and see all this information.
great. What about the hierarchies? Is there any kind of option like to accommodate those to have like the tree clear of who's
Yeah.
under? Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
would really like to see that.
Yeah, and I'll show you what that looks like when we actually get to the contract
Oh,
requests.
okay,
Because
great.
remember, this is a generic profile. So
Yeah.
works for all of our 600 carriers. And then when we initiate a contract request, we get more granular. And that's when we'll look at the hierarchy for that particular carrier. So you're going to have different hierarchies for each one of your carriers. And then we'll use that data and then stamp it onto their transmittal sheet, which is unique carrier by carrier. We just give you a unified experience with it, so we can use all your data. And so, yeah, I'll show you what that looks like when we initiate the contract request down here.
Great.
Awesome. All right. So FINRA is another one. We can pull in the full broker's check report if you do anything in the variable space. Unfortunately, Craig doesn't have a CRD number, so we'll just put no here, but just know we can get you access to the full broker's check report if that's important to you for your registered reps.
Okay.
And then EFT, since we selected the individual under DBA, we now have to fill in this EFT, which really easy to do. We can just drag and drop a void check, uh, and it's going to scan that information, pull in the banking information, routing number, account number. We also have AI tools that are working behind the scenes to pull in all this data. So I'm going to hit save and exit, and we'll save that void check here, and then we can move to the next tab. So next is going to be contracts. So as producers get contracted with you, you can add the carrier they get contracted with, as well as that agent number and when that starts, as well as what products. And once you add that, it will save here. This is going to really help as you have those contracts that flow in. So then you, as the agency admin, can come in here and see this information, but also the producer could log in and see this information.
Okay.
Next is history. We can pull employment history, address history. Craig's not a real guy, so we don't have any info to pull in here.
Yeah.
Next is training. So this is a really, really cool tab. So
Training.
we can aggregate all of that producer's training information. I'm going to scan it real quick, and we'll pull in everything that that producer has done. We'll automatically do it if they're doing any of their training through a particular state. We'll pull in that training information. If they're doing a training through like a web CE, they just need to log into their profile once, and we'll aggregate all of their training information. So this is fantastic. We have all this training information available, but we don't want to have you click into each one of these PDFs to try to figure out what it's covered. So we've created our certification tab. So we're going to take all of the state rules that we have that are out there for life state training, variable life state training, best interest, annuity state, and LTC state, and we'll manage all of this training out here. So we'll manage all the rules. So for annuity state, I'll click here in the resident state of this producer's state of Florida here. We will see that they can do an annuity. So we have the green light there. We can actually see the rule that is being covered. And then we also manage reciprocity rules. So in this case, whatever training that was done in Nebraska is going to cover for Florida. And if we were really curious and we want to see what course that was, we can go to the producer's Nebraska tab, and then we can actually see that this was a Web CE course that is covering everything in Florida. So hopefully producers are coming in here looking at this information before they start a contract to make sure they can sell this piece of business. This is really going to solve a lot of headaches of people getting not in good order contracts down the road. And then you have to go back and say, hey, Craig, why the heck did you sell this policy? We got to get it all re-signed. So we really hope this streamlines everything. So again, super powerful tab. I come from your world. I've worked in distribution most of my career. I've had to make the tough phone call often of saying, we got to get a new app signed because you didn't do the contracting. And it's a tough call to make, and this
It is.
hopefully alleviates that.
Yeah, it is. Compliance is the word. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. All you want to do is sell products, and we have to make sure all the nitty gritty behind the scenes work. Also, when I'm logged in here, I can go ahead and add any additional provider. So SuccessC is a great one. I can log in with my credentials. It's going to sync those two accounts, pull in all the information. We can also pull on anti-money laundering training. If a producer is logged in, it will give another option here saying start certification. And when they start that process, we give them options on vendors to choose. SuranceBay does offer an absolutely free SureLC or an AML course that can be used by any user. It's actually become now the most popular AML course in the industry. Any questions on this training tab?
No, actually, no. I think I get the idea, and it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of information in there, and yes, it will be great to help out those agents to be compliant
Yeah.
and everything. So yeah, it's amazing actually.
Yeah. I mean, this training tab is newer. I was out of the field by the time they launched this, and I wish I had access to
Yeah.
it for my sales reps. So
Indeed,
it
indeed.
is really cool.
Yeah, because that's something
And
that we do by hand nowadays.
yeah, I mean, this could change that whole game for you. And you don't have to keep track of each one of the state rules, which is a daunting task to do. So
Yeah. Is there okay? Okay, I have a question there, Mr. Connor. Is there any kind of alarms that we can like have for the times that licenses are going to be over? Do we have like
yeah, yes.
okay,
So under licenses, we can configure some different email notifications. I
great.
believe we can send out a notification 90 days, 30 days, a week out, and then like 2 days before. And then you can configure who receives those notifications.
Okay,
So
amazing.
you can send them right to the producer or the agent, and then they can deal with it. You can send it right to your admin team to notify that producer, or you can send it to both. Totally up to you guys how you want to do it. And then for AML, if that's done through us, we'll send out notifications when that's about to expire. And then everything else would just have to be viewed from the screen to understand what training is required for what products.
Great.
And then we can also send out notifications on E&O if that is purchased through us. So one of the optionalities we give you is either upload a deck page or purchase an E&O. I'm going to leave this blank and show you what that looks like when we hand this over to the producer. Same with our e-signature. We have our own proprietary e-signature process. We don't rely on a third party like DocuSign. And I'll show you what the e-signature process looks like when we hand this over to the producer. And then next is documents. So any documents that have been added to the system will live and breathe here. So we can see all the training certifications that are out there. We can even see that void check that was added. That explanation about fraud has been added here as well. And then, well, now that we are fine with, or we've completed that generic profile, now we're going to get more granular and we're going to do a contract request. So I'm going to go ahead and create this request.
Okay. Quick question, Mr. Kern. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
In this document tab, where are all of these documents being stored? Is like an internal server that you got there?
Yep. So this is all going to be right now. It's all housed on our internal servers. We actually own our own server farm that's hyper secure. We have a lot of redundancies built in. We don't rely on a third-party server system today. We are going to be migrating in the next 2 years to an AWS
Okay.
server, but right now everything is on our secure servers. They're actually housed in secure areas where all of the Wall Street houses their servers. We have them right next to them. So some of the most secure servers in the world.
Okay, that's great. And okay, and then since the agents themselves can access these like profiles they got in the agency, is there any way to like sort these documents into folders or a way that it could be more friendly for them?
Yeah. So they can look at newly added. We can also do oldest added by types. We can also filter by all the different types of training.
Okay,
And then if they need to, they can download it off the cloud to their personal computer.
okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, because we got plenty of agents and usually they struggle a lot with this kind of documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be
So
great to have yeah, to have everything like organized and nice and neat for them.
exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
we can keep all this in here. And now we're going to do a contract
Great,
request.
great,
So
great. Thank you.
we're going to get more granular. And I'll just show you how easy this is. So most people are going to have these profiles set up. I took my sweet time going through it, but you can imagine it's pretty dang quick to get this set up. Now we're going to just initiate a contract for the producer, but know that a producer could log in and initiate their own contract. I'm just going to do it as an admin here. So part of the setup process is going to be adding all your carriers to this system. So you'll only see the carriers that you work with, and then we'll just make it a nice little search bar here. So for today, I'm going to add our test carrier since it has all the options turned on. And then we're going to give you a couple different options. So we can do a contract request is what I'll walk through today. But if you need to add additional states down the road, let's say you've got the Craig contracted here, but you need to add the state of Michigan, you can do that at a later date. We can also change commission and hierarchy information, change payment, or transfer to another agency. So let's say if you didn't want to work with Craig anymore and he's going to work somewhere else, this will be a nice wizard to show you how to transfer that. But for today, I'm just going to do a contract request.
Great.
I'm going to go ahead and hit next. First hard stop here is adding all your states and products. So we know that our test carrier has life and annuities. We can see all the different states. We can see the resident state is always indicated with a home. And then we can also see pre-appointment states have been added to this test carrier. So let me go ahead and select Florida and go next. So like you were saying with that hierarchy information, so this is where we'll pull in all that hierarchy data. So we can see all that hierarchy information. We can also see all the commission levels. This is something we'll work with you and your team when we do our setup call. We'll show you how to set these hierarchies and commissions up at a global level.
Okay.
And then we could even show you if you had several different hierarchy and commission schedules you wanted to store, this would actually be a drop down and we could select between the different hierarchies. But really, once a agency admin gets past step 3, we can just go ahead and request review and send this over to the producer so that they can go through and answer everything else. Of course, the hierarchy and commission information is only going to be shown at the admin level, but now the producer can log in and fill in the rest of this. So we're going to change personas from an agency admin to the agent themselves. And I'll show you what that email looks like that they're going to receive.
Okay.
Let me just grab that real quick. This always takes a second. All right. So this is what the email that Craig would receive. It's going to say, let him know what agency is requesting this and then what carrier. So I can go ahead and start this review. And since we didn't set up a username and password for Craig, it's going to ask for the 6 digits of his social as well as his date of birth. So I'm going to plug that in real quick. Now that we're in, first time Craig coming to the site here, he just needed to answer a quick attestation. We can see high level what Craig's doing here. He's doing test carrier for life and annuity in Florida. If he has questions, we'll have your contact information available.
Great.
We'll have to answer this first red dot, so cannot proceed until we have a signature on file. Again, our proprietary e-signature process. So we'll just go ahead and create a stamp signature. And that's going to save that signature to the file. We'll use this ongoing. So Craig just needs to complete a signature once. Next is new business. So some carriers require to have new business added. If they do, this is what it'll look like. Be some nice drop-down bars about the products, as well as the application date. This will most likely flag this contract when it hits the carrier, letting them know that, hey, they have new business in-house. You'll want to move this up the ladder to make sure this is taken care of. Now we see the training tab. Now, since I'm logged in as a producer, if I had like a reg ed username and password, I could add that here. I could also start that AML training, and we have all the different providers. Again, Insurance Bay is absolutely free and the most popular AML course in the industry. And then we can see best interest in annuity state for all the reciprocity states as well. Next is bank information. We already uploaded that void check, so we are good to go there. Again, we give the ability for that producer to purchase right from here, but we can go ahead and actually add an existing certificate, and we're going to scan this a lot like that void check. We're going to also use AI tools to make sure that this is what they're saying it is, as well as adding any additional verification. So we can see that the AI tools are doing a great job. This is expired, so it's flagging that this is expired. Typically, this would be a hard stop since I am in, they give me all access here. I can go ahead and fake this number and we can proceed. So we can go ahead and say, oh, we're good with E&O. And next is carrier questions. So if you remember those 19 questions we answered earlier, these are going to be any additional questions that this carrier has. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in some dummy info here. And then next we'll go to that questionnaire. So right now we're going to see that this test carrier only asked 12 of those 19 questions. They do ask about fraud, so we have that explanation already added. So that all looks good. This carrier also has an integration with a background screener. So we'll get those attestations for the background prior to submission of that contract. So once they receive the contract, they can order the background screening, which hopefully would save some time.
Great.
Let's go through these real quick. Once those attestations are completed, now we're going to take all that data from that contract and or from that generic profile, stamp it onto the contracting forms, and we'll have that producer review everything and apply their signature. This always takes a second for us to go through here. So any questions as this loads or anything I could give some more color to?
Actually, no, Mr. Connor, so far this is great. Yeah, I think it's
Awesome.
very friendly, yeah, with the agents themselves, so it's great. And I see that there's a lot of things that we can maybe modify according to whatever needs we have, and also, well, it's very compliant, so that's great. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Now we have our test carrier loaded here. So you can see all the data from that generic profile being stamped onto this page, even those yes or no questions. We can see that I can't apply my signature until I'm at the very bottom of the page. So we're hoping the producer goes line by line on here,
Hmm.
making sure everything's correct, but we know most of them are just going to
Yeah,
fly to the bottom.
it is what it is.
I'm guilty of it myself, and I was selling. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's great. No, but it's very
well,
compliant. I mean, the system and everything, it seems to be just great. That's fine.
yeah, yeah. So we'll come through here, and now we can start to see W-9 information all
Hmm.
pre-filled in with our void check. We can see that E&O certificate. We can see all the licenses for the producer. We can even see that explanation about fraud we created, all their training that's needed. And now we'll apply our signature. I'm going to sign it. We're going to collect the date, the IP address, and the time this was all done. And now, once this is signed, we're going to change personas back to that agency admin. So once this is completed, you'll get notified at the agency level saying Craig completed his contract. You'll need to now review it. And that's where we give you access to the work inbox. So again, changing personas from Craig as the agent. Now we're looking at everything from an admin point of view. And this work inbox gives you the ability to see everything that's at the producer level. So we can see Craig's case is still thinking here. We can see this other case for Anatole Flintstone that hasn't been completed. So let's say if we want Anatole to complete this, we can actually remind him, and it's going to resend an email to Anatole saying, hey, sign your contract,
Yeah,
and
okay,
we'll
good.
flag everything as urgent. We can also see everything that's at the carrier. So anything pending at the carrier, you can also click in here, see the status of it. If a carrier is providing that to us, there's about 80 carriers that are providing status to us today.
Okay.
That number should be growing in the coming years as we have more integrations with carriers. And then lastly, we can see everything that's at the agency. So everything we need to take care of. And we can see Craig's case is now completed. It's for the test carrier. It came in today. We could assign this to any internal employee if need be.
Okay.
So great thing to do. So let's say we'll assign this to Mike. When Mike comes in the morning, he can see all the contracts he needs to review for the day. And then we can see state of Florida, what products. There's a few miscellaneous things we'll need to take care of. But essentially, we'll click into Craig's profile. We'll give it a once over and then push this to the carrier. So we can just go through this, double checking all this information. We can double check hierarchy and commission info. We can see that he has a new business case. May reach out to his wholesaler, just let them know, hey, Craig has a case for counter. We can double check that trading information, see that banking information, make sure he has E&O, and then carrier questions. So we can see that there's one question that us as the agency needs to complete. Once that's done, we can move forward. And then we can see those questionnaires, make sure that, Greg didn't commit a felony the other day. And then lastly, we have the paperwork dated for today. We could also backdate this. We can add any upline signatures we need to add. Uh, we'll automatically send this to the carrier as an electronic submission. If a carrier doesn't have any of our internal tools, it'll just be sent to them via email as a PDF. And then we can go ahead and CC the agency, the administrator, the producer, and we hit process. And this will then be submitted to the carrier. Well, they'll start to review everything. And once they either accept or reject this contract, then they'll come back to you and say, hey, great news. Here's the writing number for Craig. That is a 1,000-foot view of the system. Do you guys have any questions before I talk about pricing and implementation?
Well, it seems awesome. Questions on it? No. Well, Mr. Connor, I'm sorry. There we have Alejandro. He's our contracting guy.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah. Hey,
so
Alejandro. How's it going?
I think he's mute.
Okay. Oh,
Wait,
it
wait.
does look like he has a
Oh,
question though.
hi.
Hey, how's it
I'm
going?
sorry.
No
I'm
worries.
fine. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I know you came in a little late, but any questions I can help you answer on here?
Yeah, I have one or two questions about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
tool. One is, how do you, if this kind of book of business that we create with this with this application, with this service, um, can we I don't know if we can link maybe the carrier, or maybe the contract or the appointment, with their portals, so I can check in the I don't know, in the profile of the agent,
Mhm.
if he maybe has some kind of a step pending to resolve, so we can maybe enter to the portal and finish that process, or at least advise the agent that he must do some kind of steps to finish the process with some career or something. I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, yeah. So we can actually pull in all that information, and essentially these are guidelines for each one of the carriers. So there's no way for like a producer to skip a step. So they have to fulfill everything that's required before a contract is submitted. So let's say if there's a certain threshold on E&O and this producer isn't meeting that requirement, it won't let them submit the contract back to you until that is done. So that's the beauty of the
Okay.
system, and really prevents not in good order contracts flowing from you to the carrier that are just going to get rejected. So that's a big benefit of the system, is not allowing producers to skip a step or fill in the wrong information,
Okay.
since this is all verified data.
Okay, because I can see here we are in, I think, the first step, and it is creating the profile of the agent. So
Uh-huh.
he sent us, or we earn, I don't know, upload the all the info, all these W9, the ENO, etc. Then, for example, if he want to get appointed with I don't know, Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, we can use this portal to I don't know, to assist the process with Blue Cross Blue Shield, for example, or maybe if the agent wants to transfer under another agency, or I don't know, some other kind of exercise with transferring services, or appointments, or under another upline, etc. This portal can help us with that part of the process. I don't know if with the links with the process, or with a to-do list, or how will this work when you are now in the process of the appointments and transfers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So you can definitely do other things other than just a contract. So if we went and did a contract, if we selected, let's say, Banner, and we wanted to add an additional state, or change
Okay.
commission on a
Yeah.
hierarchy, change payment, or transfer to another organization, all that can
Okay.
be done right through here.
Perfect. Okay. Now, please to the contract. Release from existing contract. So all these how do you say that? The system, or the portal will give us the peak um, um, I don't know, the peak options,
Mhm,
so we can go step by step choosing what we need.
mhm.
So the portal will help us with that.
Exactly. Yep. So this whole
Okay.
process, and we're again aggregating data for this generic profile that's going to feed each one of these contract requests. And we do that with integrations with Nipper, Surcon, SBS, FINRA,
Okay.
all the training providers. And that's where we pull in all the data so you don't have to. And then that is updated every single day to those providers. So this information is going to be fresh data. So when you initiate the contract request that we went through, we're going to take all that data and then stamp it onto the correct contracting forms. And then that's how we'll kind of push everything over.
Okay, so I can also, for example, if I need to make I forgot the word. And I yeah, just give me a moment, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was asking if we can use the portal, for example, to generate reports with the agents that we have. For example, I need to know how many agents are ready to sell in California with Embedder, in example.
Yeah. So
okay.
You can pull in different statuses. We have over 100 ad hoc reports here. So you can pull that data in. You can also go into each one of the producers' profiles. So I'm actually going to go to our producer list. So this is going to be all your producers. You can see kind of a high level if there's any sort of issues out there. So AML training missing, ENO is available. If you have any sort of issues, we can see DBA wasn't completed here, going to show up red. So you get kind of a high level of each one of your producers. And then if you need to go into any of their profiles, you can click in and then see all of their data and then either initiate a contract request. It's like this one, we need to update their DBA. So we'll do individual. We'll just switch into LOA. But you can essentially just go through these processes, see all the information. We can also see all that training data that's being aggregated here. So we can see life state training, variable life, best interest annuity state, LTC training.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Any other questions on this before I talk about pricing and implementation?
I think not for now. I don't know, Santiago.
No, actually, no. I think it's great. So for my side, it looks amazing, and yeah, I have no further questions. Pretty interesting on the hierarchy, right? Like on taking a good look on visualizing how, like yeah, like the levels, the pipelines, who's under who's above who. That will be great.
Yeah, that's extremely helpful to pull that data in, just so you have all that at just a couple of clicks of a button from that information. But let me hit you with pricing. I'll also send this pricing to you via email after the call, so you should have access to it. But essentially, pricing is going to be broken into two categories. First category is going to be all of your implementation and annual maintenance fees. They're all pretty straightforward. And then the second category is going to be all your per producer costs. And for every producer you add to the system, there's going to be 3 costs associated with them. So to start this out, it will be a one-time implementation fee of $2,500. And that's going to cover a few things for you. First thing that's going to cover is us building the site. Then it's going to cover adding all your admins. There's no additional cost for admins. It's going to cover adding all your carriers as well. It's also going to cover a 2-hour training session where we're going to train you on how to use the system and configure everything to your needs. And then it's the last thing it's going to cover is your annual maintenance for the first year. So $2,500, you're good for the first year. Then it's only $750 a year from there. Any questions on that first category before I move to the next?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mr. Connor, let me double check. So we have two pricings, right? First implementation that is like one-time fee. I would say $2,500, and it
Yep.
includes a 2-hour training session, the incorporation and the creation of the profiles that I understand, like the admins and the employee profiles in the platform.
Yep.
Employee admins, and the carriers, right? The carriers we work with.
Mhm. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And the first annual cost, yeah, that's like one time. After that, we'll be paying how much? Sorry, you say
$750 a year after that.
$750 a year, right?
Yep.
$750 a year. Okay, after that one. Great. Once we've done this like first step, if we
Mhm.
want or we need to add any other admin, employee, or carriers, can we do it by ourselves?
Yep, you can do it by yourself, and that's a free charge to add any of your admins or carriers. And if you have questions on how to do that, we'll of course address that in the 2-hour training call. But you can always reach out to our support team. They're available Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern.
Okay, great. So support comes at no charge at all, right? It's just like,
Exactly. That's encompassed with setup and annual maintenance.
okay, great. Okay, that's the first pricing. And what about you say per producer? How's the pricing there?
Yeah, Yep. So once you have that setup fee and annual maintenance that are paid, then there's going to be additional costs for each one of your producers. And there's 3 costs associated with each producer. There will be a one-time fee when you add them to the system of $1.25, and that is going to cover that Nipper PDB report. So we hand that money right over to Nipper.
Okay.
Then it's going to be 31 cents per producer per month. Most of that money is going to Nipper for those daily updates. And then a little bit of that money is going to come back to us for like server maintenance. And then the last cost is for every contract that you submit to the carriers. It's going to be a one-time fee of $9.08.
$9.08. You said one-time contract. What do you mean by that? Like, yeah, like each
Yeah.
year it will be $9.08 per contract per producer, right?
Per contract per producer. So a great example, like when I hit that process button at the very end of our example with Craig, and when I hit that process button, that's when you're charged $9.08. And if that producer is accepted and actively writing business, typically there's no need to go back and get another contract with that carrier. And then depending on how many carriers you work with, that is going to vary on how many contracts you're going to be submitting.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So let me check I have that information right. You say, yeah, for producer, its first cost is a one-time fee of $1.25.
Yep.
That includes the NIPR report, and that's it, right?
Yep.
That one will be per producer. Yes. Then we have 31 cents per producer per month.
Yep.
And it will be like the permanent fee. And finally, each time we submit, we do like the contracts per producer, we got $9.08.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let's have those numbers clear. Okay. Okay.
Uh, I
Great.
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
The question is, if we migrate our database, will each contract cost the same, or this migration process will have a different cost? Because if we have, I don't know, 100 contracts, so we must pay for each one when we are migrating the information.
And the $9.08 is only for new contracts. So let's
Yeah.
say if you have a producer that already has all their contracts, no need to get them recontracted, right?
Yeah.
You'll just input their writing codes in the system. But they would, if you add them to the system, the $1.25 and the 31 cents per producer per month you'll have to add, they'll fall under that pricing. But until they have a new contract request, you won't have to pay that $9.08.
Oh, okay, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you
Yeah.
do a mass migration, it's dependent on how complex that data is and how many producers. It's typically an additional, if you want us to do it, to do a mass migration. It's usually like a couple $100, like $200 to do a mass migration. But that is up to the operations team discretion and how complex. And again, if you're giving us 10,000 producers, that's going to take them more time. That may cost more versus if you have like 100 producers. Sometimes they'll even do it for free.
Okay. Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Cost. Okay, that's great. I like those numbers. I have no further
Awesome.
questions on it.
All right. Yeah. And just a few other things I'll point out. I'll share that pricing with you after this call. I'll also include a list of all the carriers that are on SuranceLC, so you're
Oh,
familiar with them. And then lastly, I'm going to include our agency setup sheet. So if you say, Con, this is fantastic, let's move forward. You fill out that agency setup sheet, get it back to me. I will give it to our legal team here who will send you agreements via DocuSign. Once that's completed, it usually takes us about 2 to 3 weeks to get you fully set up, including that 2-hour training session. And then I'll also use all that information on the agency setup sheet to get you set up on your new SuranceLC account.
okay, that will be awesome.
Perfect.
That's great.
All right.
Okay.
I know I hit you with a lot of information, but
Yeah.
any other questions you have?
No, I'm just looking through my notes, and it seems like
Yeah.
everything is fine. I'm just like checking again and again and reading everything, and it seems like I have all my questions. So all the questions that I came with answered. I don't know, Mr.
Awesome.
Alejo, if you have any other question there.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of questions, but I think also that these questions could be resolved at the moment when this process continues. Because, for example, I don't know if we can I don't know, kind of manipulate or change. I mean, change, for example, the levels of commissions, for example, or
Mhm.
if we can send kind of a mass message. For example, if we have 30 agents in one carrier that need to communicate some kind of information, that if we can to do some kind of process with them with the portal or into the portal. So I have a lot of questions that I would like to answer, but I think also that this will be answered with the time and with these tutorials or exercises where you are going to show us how to to use the portal.
Yep. Yeah. So when we do the training session, we'll address all that with you. But we do have tools in place to do mass updates. So let's say if you want to get, all you bring on a new carrier, Banner Life, and you want to just do a massive, everyone gets a contract with Banner Life. There's a tool in there that speeds up that process. We can also do kind of mass migrations of new commission and hierarchy. So we can accommodate those. Those are other features that are built in the system. And when Jim, our head trainer, sets up that training call with you, he'll show you all those bells and whistles as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it seems great. Okay, so Mr. Connor, you said that you were going to send us like this pricing on a document.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I'll send you all this as well as the timeline of everything via email, and I'll get that together right after this call and send it to you. And then if any questions come up, just let me know. You can shoot me an email, give me a ring. My contact information's all over this email.
Okay, great. Are you sending that to IT, right? Like the email that I contacted first time.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I'll just
IT.
send it to that email that I have on file. And I'm actually working on that email as we speak. So hopefully it should
Okay.
hit you guys any second now.
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, I was scared because when I scheduled a meeting with you, I think that I did it as a guest, so I was not sure we got the
Oh,
about even though I
uh,
did it as a guest, I received all of the information about it. I was just wondering to be sure because it's important information we need. Yeah, it
oh
seems
yeah.
nice.
And I actually just hit send on that email, so that should hit your inbox any second now.
Okay.
Anything else I can do to help you guys on out?
I think we're all clear. I haven't received it, but yeah, it could be there. It will be there any second.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, well, actually, no, Mr. Connor, thank you so much for your time, for your
Yeah.
patience, yeah, for the explanation. It was awesome. It was incredible. Such a very interesting, useful, and great platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely
Awesome.
going
Well,
to
hey.
take a yeah, we're going to definitely take a look at it and see if it's a good idea for us to implement. But I mean, for sure it will be.
Yeah. And any questions, like I said, just shoot me an email, give me a ring, whatever's easier, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Mister.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
It was great chatting with you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.